So this video will just look at the final two components of the CV, which relates to interests or hobbies and referees. So we'll just start by looking at Jimmy's interests over here. So you can see he's written blogging, he's noted reading, and he's written volunteering. Yeah. So a lot of times people just put things that are not honest. It's always nice in this section to put things that you know you actually do and that you enjoy, because you could get asked about it in your interview. So as you see for Jimmy, under blogging, he's written down that he's written blog posts on entrepreneurship at never2016.com. So you can check it out and confirm if he's actually blogging or writing. Yeah, he's written under at usiu.com. Yeah, and he's even put a link to the article, so you can find out more about his writing if you want. So it's something that is true, and he has evidence to back it up. And he's talked about reading African literature. So he's been very specific about the type of books that he reads. And probably if you're an interviewer, you could ask him about it and he could tell you about what book he read last. It's a question that could come up. And volunteering, which is quite nice. So he says the number of hours he's volunteered, yeah, where he's done it, and the type of projects he's been involved in. So with interests, try and be honest, and try and put things that you can quantify. Yeah, and that will guide you. Also, incidentally, volunteering, depending on how much work you put in or how intense the experience was, you could also put it under professional activities. As long as you have good points, statements of accomplishment we call them, that can showcase the work that you did and how you contributed wherever you were volunteering. So it's like, yeah, so that's something you can think about. Also, with referees, we move to referees. So I hope interest is clear, and we can move on to referees. So as regards referees, you can do this. You can have it written as available upon request if you think that you don't feel comfortable putting your referees up there. So this is what Jimmy has done. But alternatively, if you do decide to put your referees, you should have at least 3 referees. So two of them could be professional referees, and you could have 1 academic referee. So for this individual, you notice they're all professional referees. So this was a place that the individual worked. This was a supervisor, and the place the individual worked. This is also a professional referee, and this is also a professional referee. But if you're just starting out, you could have 2 professional referees from places you've worked, and you could have 1 academic one, like a lecturer or someone who you studied under. Yes, and I think that wraps up this CV tutorial session. So I'll just recap everything we've looked at. So we've looked at having a nice short introduction with your name, number, email address. We've talked about your personal statement and the 3 areas it should tackle. So who you are, what skills you offer, and where you would intend to work. We've talked about work experience, yeah, making sure that your experiences capture what you did as opposed to what your job description was, yeah. And we also talked about consistency in the format. So if you start writing date, work, and role, and this should carry on throughout any work experience that you write. We've talked about professional activities and how you can include them. We've talked about academic qualifications. We've talked about interests, and lastly we've talked about referees. So this is the type of format we expect, or these are the areas we expect to see in your CV. And now I'd like to just close with a few tips. So closing tips you can see here. Number 1, check for spelling errors. So no matter how good your CV looks, if there's spelling errors, it's not going to be good for you. And we expect that by the time you get to join the program, you'll have checked for any errors. And then use a consistent format. Consistent format here, I'm talking about this date, organization, role, business that I mentioned earlier. And also, the font size should not be jumping all over the place. Then lastly, make your CV industry specific by using a good personal statement. So this one goes back to what I talked about in the beginning. So if you're applying for a sales job, your personal statement needs to reflect that. If it's an admin job, your personal statement needs to reflect that as well. And the last tip is make your CV short. So the CV I've shown you today is only 2 pages. I'll send it to you so you can confirm it for yourself. And this is the angle or the amount or the length of a CV that we want you to have. And the last tip is you can check out loom.com. So this site here, it has thousands of CV templates that you can use to guide you as you're writing your CV. So it should prove useful when you're coming up with your CV and trying to make it look as good as possible. So you can check out that site, loom.com. Yeah, so with this short tutorials, I hope that writing your CV is not as daunting a task as it was before, and I hope that we can have good CVs by the time we start the program. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and welcome to Usudi.